Chair recognizes the Chairman of the Motor Vehicles Committee, Chairman Rice, for an invite resolution.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. We often talk and act on things that have to do with economic development in this state. It's not often that we get the opportunity to put a face on our economic development policies and the things that we do to help. But the recognition this morning is a personal recognition for a guy who has done it all in terms of a great Georgia resume and a great Georgia contribution to economic development. If you bear with me for a second, I'd just like to introduce Alan Ecker's background to you. First of all, he's a lifelong resident of Georgia, went to Boys High here in Atlanta. But listen to this. In 1957, 1958, he played for Georgia Tech, and I know you Georgia fans won't like that too much, but he played for Georgia Tech. And there are some Tech people here. He played on the Yellow Jacket team that won the Cotton, the Sugar, and the Gator Bowls. He was an All-American, second-team All-American, and he was an academic All-American. Dr. Ecker went on to get his PhD in electrical engineering at Ohio State, unfortunately, after he graduated from Tech. But he went to Ohio State, got his degree in electrical engineering. And then he came back to Georgia as director of the Applied Engineering Laboratory at Georgia Tech. That's the organization that sponsored our entry into the digital world. And Alan Ecker then moved on to become executive vice president of Scientific Atlanta up in Gwinnett County. Alan Ecker is the guy who created digital television. So the stuff you got in your hand, or the stuff you got on the board here, or the stuff you got down in your office watching TV, a lot of it has to do with Dr. Allen. But since that point in time, he has retired, and he goes to Georgia Tech football games, and that's where I met him. He didn't say a word about what he had done in his life except play football. And then he told me about how he played football and how it should be done even better than what they do it now. But he's found time over the course of his retirement to direct the Internet Protocol Television Research Funds to support autism research. So we talk about things like this in terms of autism. This is a guy who's actually done it. So from a lifelong perspective, this Georgian has done it all. He's gone to school here. He's played football here. He's directed the Applied Engineering Lab here at the incubator at Georgia Tech. He's gone on in the private industry and been an executive that went in a company that went to $1 billion here in Georgia and employs a lot of people here. And he's a great, great guy, and he really knows how to play football too, and he knows how to critique it. I'd like you to have join me in honoring Alan, Sandra, his wife, and his family who's with him here today, and our folks from Georgia Tech who are joining us today. So let's all give Dr. Allen a big hand for doing what he's done.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Speaker. Thank you, members of the House, for this unanticipated but greatly appreciated honor. For this old Georgia boy who was born in Athens, actually played my first football at Athens Y, a youth program there on the corner of Broad and Lumpkin for Coburn Kelly. And the first trophy I ever got for football was given to me by Charlie Trippi. I should tell a story on myself. When I moved to Atlanta then, and what was Boys High then turned into Grady High, and actually graduated from Grady High, and my coach there for football, basketball, and tennis was Irk Russell. And I actually lost a bet betting on Georgia my senior year against Tech. But when I had a chance to play football for Coach Bobby Dodd, I took that opportunity, and that has made all the difference in my life, because I went to play football at Tech, not to be an engineer, but I decided I like engineering, went on to get a master's in electrical engineering as well as a PhD. But then in 1976, I had the real opportunity that Jack Kelly, Sid Topol, and Glenn Robinson hired me to be head of research at Scientific Atlanta. At that time, the annual sales were $40 million a year. In 2006, when we were acquired by Cisco, the annual sales were $3.1 billion, and Cisco paid $6.9 billion for Scientific Atlanta. So we led quite a bit of the economic development from the high-tech industry in Georgia with our own growth, and really, as Chairman Rice said, digital television. We got awards of engineering Emmys for digital video, video on demand, DVRs, and we also got an award for having the most spin-off companies as well. So I thank Georgia Tech for getting me started, but you know, it also, here I have Dr. Gary May, who is the Dean of, he's a colleague and friend of mine, Dean of Engineering at Georgia Tech, who's representing the Yellow Jackets here for me. But a very special part of this is to be able to have my wife, Sandra, who's my partner and love of my life, and we will have been married 55 years this May. And my children, all who live in the metro area now, Steve, Holly, and Mike. And you know, in any successful career, if you don't have the support of your wife and your family, you can't be successful. So I appreciate all that they've done. So thank you again, and it's been just a terrific honor for me today.